Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eternal Midnight. I'm here with Chad. What's going on, man?
What's up, everyone?
And I'm here with Erica. How are you, Erica?
Hi everyone, I'm doing good. Hope you're all doing good too.
That's great. We're all doing great. So today we are continuing DC month with two very recent films that came out. One last year and one this year. Um, Shazam and Birds of Prey.
And I love them both.
And I love them both. All
I
right.
I love
And Erica didn't.
I love one of them and I think the other one is okay.
All right. So let's start with Shazam since we're going by order of release. Erica, since you saw it just recently, what do you think of Shazam?
I love Shazam. I think it had everything. I think the casting was great. Zachary Levi was incredible. He was hilarious and he totally like he felt like an adult who's a kid. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, it was hilarious. It was about family, which was really great because there's not a lot of superhero movies that's about family like that. And it was kind of like a more real life superhero thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
like most of the DC world, it felt like it could have actually been happening in the world we exist in.
yeah, for sure. And I loved how it was like a foster family. That was all really great like that. And it it was I don't know. I when I was watching it, I just felt happy, And the comedy was really great. I love that that scene at the corner store with the guns. That was hilarious. It was like,
Here, shoot him in the face.
yeah, shoot him in the face, and he's like, what? No. And then he was like, it tickles. And then he looked at the burglars and he was like, you're dead. And then they just throw him out the window. And then they go out with the beer and they're like, cheers. And then they drink it and they spit it out and it's like, that tastes like actual vomit. And then they go back in and get a bunch of like candy and junk food. And they're like, sorry about your window, but you're welcome. Sorry about your window, but you're welcome for not getting robbed. It was amazing. It was really great. It was hilarious. It was just awesome. I loved it. It was a feel good movie. You watch it and then you kind of just feel good after.
Yeah, I missed it.
That scene right at the end when they were doing like their final family dinner and they did the prayer and he's like, I'm staying with this family. It was like that was so heartwarming.
Yeah.
Because it was like this kid who's like basically, got lost from his mom, has been looking for her for years, finally finds her, and she just completely shits on him in like the most brutal way possible.
I love that scene.
That was like hard to watch on a rewatch because I'm like, this poor kid, and what a bitch of a mom.
I love that scene.
It's like he finally goes back to where he knows he like realizes he's like, those people and those kids, they actually care about me more than she does. And he was like, that is my real family now.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. I love that scene where the mom's telling her story from her point of view where she sees Billy like with the cops and just leaves because he doesn't want to take care of him anymore. And then he gets the call from Freddy and he's like, Billy, supervillain, and he runs on the rooftop and he goes, Shazam! And then he turns into the superhero and goes after Mark Strong. Sir, one of the best moments in like the movie ever. I love that scene. I think it's because like Shazam really represents like it's really such a wholesome film. Yes, Erica.
I really liked at the beginning before he became Shazam when he stood up for Freddy, when Billy stood up for Freddy, when he was those idiot bullies were like making fun of him. I liked that a lot. That was nice. And it just the whole part where they're testing out his superpowers, that was awesome. It was just like literally he was like zapping their textbooks. And then there were ones where it was like it was when they were testing if he had super strength and he was doing that weird dance that Generation Z does that I can't do. That weird like hands on your hip thing. It was weird. And then he just punches the pillar, and it's just like, oh my god. And then when they were testing if he could fly, that was hilarious. It was just like he was literally like he ran off of a car and just like tumbled onto the ground, and then there was the one where they're on like the skateboard skateboard ramp, and he like goes up in the air for a little bit, and then he just crashes down. It was so funny. Yeah, that was. And
this
then,
movie was just filled with like comedy done right in my book, because it was like it was a ton of it. And for the most part, I'd say like 90% of the comedy in this movie completely worked. Like one of my favorite laughs I get out of the movie is when they were running from the bad guy's name just fell out of my head. When they're running from him. Huh?
Savannah, Dr. Savannah.
Yeah, Dr. Savannah. When they're running from him in the other world Shazam temple or whatever, and Billy drags them out and he drops them all just boom right in the middle of a strip club, and they all come running out, and Mary is like, really, that's the place you brought us to? What? It was the first thing that popped into my head.
I love that. I love like the cute the cute little nods to like other DC films where like Friday throws the batarang at Savannah's head, and it hits him and it bleeds because like it's real.
And speaking of Batman, don't forget when Shazam was fighting Savannah for the first time in the mall.
Yeah,
he picks up the Batman. Stop him, Batman!
I love that. That was hilarious. I'm Batman.
Zachary.
Was that Kevin Conroy's voice?
I think so. I'm not sure. I have to check.
I think it was, but hey, we could be wrong. I don't care.
I really liked the whole scene in the carnival. And with what's the name of the like bigger chubby kid? What's his name again?
I don't know.
We need to remember the names. Anyways.
Neither. That I know what you're talking about.
When they became the like adult Shazams, and the actors, like he was holding up the whole Ferris wheel, and then it was
Pedro.
like Pedro, yes. And then Darla's the younger little girl who's really smart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She could fly really well, and she came up and grabbed the bullies and then kind of just threw them on the concrete and just like, I saved your life, but you're shit, so I'm gonna throw you over there. And just when the Shazam family, like I remember in our chat group, I was like, there's a Shazam family, and it was like, it was so awesome. It made me feel like a kid in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because that's what it was. I mean, it was like, it was so, it does sound weird, but it's like, yes, it's awesome seeing that whole lineup of the whole Shazam family, all with their different colors. I mean, it was so cool, because it's like, before going into it, I knew about Shazam, obviously, before I went into it. I knew there was a Shazam family. And I remember going into it, and I'm like, maybe we'll see them, because I knew all the kids were in this one. So I'm like, but you know what? I was like, I'll bet you they're going to wait for a sequel for that one. But then as soon as Billy had the staff and he's like, all hands on deck, I was like sitting in the theater. I was like nerding the hell out. I'm like, we're getting the Shazam family now. And then just boom, all of them showed up. And I was just like, yes.
So it was so cool seeing that. And honestly, I love the I'm in the minority in this. I do love Mark Strong as Savannah. People say that he's underdeveloped. I like him because he was.
I don't think he was underdeveloped. I mean, he was given the entire beginning of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. But then like yeah, the good the people who I've talked to said, you know, good opening, and then it just became like cheesy. So you know that's why. So I don't agree, but yeah.
I liked him. Dr. Savannah seems like one of those villains where like seeing his backstory, it makes sense that he became a villain, because it's like his family treated him like trash, but he's still kind of trash. He's not trashy. He's not a good person, but it makes sense that he became a bad person, if that makes sense. And Yeah, the Asher Angel is the guy who played Billy, and he was great. I really liked him. He did a good job, and then Zachary Levi did a good job of like having Billy's personality while he was Shazam, and the special effects seemed to be pretty good. It was great, and like I said, Zachary Levi was like perfect, like really good cast. I loved it.
I'm so glad he got removed from the MCU to be part of this one.
Pardon?
Because like I was saying I was so glad he was removed from Marvel to be part of DC.
Oh.
Because he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't. Chad, he wasn't Thor: The Dark World. He was Fandral, the blonde guy. And in Ragnarok for
like, I wouldn't even count that as a role. He was in both movies for like a whopping total of what, 15 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm so glad he got a bigger role. I'm so glad because Zachary Levi is a good actor. Like honestly.
Mm-hmm. So
he's such a sweetheart in real life. So I think
oh, he's awesome in real life. I follow him on Twitter. He's hilarious.
Exactly.
So one of my favorite scenes from the whole movie. That this one was controversial because I know there was a lot of moms bitching online about this one. The slaughter when the 7 deadly sins came out and wiped out that whole room of executives. There were so many parents bitching about the movie online. They were like, my kid is scarred for life. And it's like, get the hell over it. But I loved that scene because it when it showed like the person out front starts hearing the screams and he's like slowly making his way forward, and then everyone is like throws themselves up against the glass, and then the 7 deadly sins start dragging them back and murdering them all. I was like, this is great. And then the way he just sicked to the final one on his dad, and he's like, kill him, I don't care. I was like, damn, this guy is savage.
The part where Dr. Savannah like threw his brother out the window, that was just like, holy shit. That was like, I understand his brother was like a total dick. Like I wanted to punch him, but like that was just like, ugh. And it's just like, it was, I don't know. There's nothing bad that I can say about it. The only part was the whole wizard thing. Whenever that was happening, it was just kind of boring, honestly. Yeah, but it
did give us the setup for the next movie, like kind of within this timeline though of Black Adam though, because when he first did he was explaining, he's like, we originally had a hero, and he like did that like golden looking hologram thing. That was Black Adam he was showing. Black Adam is basically like, he's like the 7th one basically. And
he's the bad one.
Yeah, and The Rock is going to be playing him when that movie comes out.
Like, did you see the deleted scene of Shazam where like they were all singing on thrones, and like they basically say like, there's 6 of us, but where's the 7th one? And like there's an empty throne, and that's ominous music. Okay, yeah, I'll send it to you after we do this. And basically that girl, the shorter girl, the younger girl, has Darla, yeah, there you go. I'm gonna love him no matter what, and I'm like, yeah, you will for sure.
You know what the most heartbreaking scene with Darla was? On Billy's first day of school when she went to give him a hug, and she's like, good luck on your first day, big brother, and he's like, I'm not really your brother. I was like, damn, dude. She's like 8.
Yeah. The other part that was funny was when they were in the park when he first like discovered his powers, and there was like a woman getting robbed, and he went to try to save her, and then she already saved herself, and then Freddy came by, and he was like, I think it was Thundercrack, and then Shazam was like, that sounds like a butt thing, and then something about Philadelphia is like, that's a cream cheese thing, and that was I couldn't stop laughing with that part. That was
again, I swear.
What was another one he had? Captain Sparkle Fingers?
Yeah.
that was the joke one when they were at the corner store, and there was a lady coming by, and he's like, his name is Sparkle Fingers, and then he's like, no, it's not my name.
I love. Can I be honest? As much as I love Jacqueline Grazer, I think as much as I love Asher Angel, I think the standout in this movie was Jacqueline Grazer because he was so good in It Chapter 1, and he just here like he's a great actor. Like I want to see more of him.
He played Freddy. Yeah.
And the adult guy who plays Freddy at the final battle, like when he's Shazam.
Yeah. They did such a good job picking people who looked like older lookalikes of the kids.
Yeah, exactly. I was so well done.
Well, what's his name? Guy that played older Freddy.
I don't know.
Been in so much stuff.
He was like he has
Adam Brody.
Adam Brody, yes. I know him. He's been in a lot of stuff. And yeah, like literally, it was just there's nothing bad. Like there's no parts that I didn't like. It was just all of it was good. The villain was like crappy. Not like it wasn't. You know what I mean? Like it was a villain that you didn't like. It wasn't that he was a bad villain. It was like this is like such a good villain that I hate him, and that's what you want to go for as a villain that you hate. And yeah, it was hilarious. It literally it had everything. Like I said, I don't know who the screenwriter was, but they did a great job. How did it like? I haven't read the comics. Did it do a good job of like relating to the comic stories or?
It felt more like they were going for the new 50. It was the new 52 design. So yeah, it felt more like a new 52 story as opposed to pre-new 52, which is perfectly fine. I mean, Shazam like originally started out as, Captain Marvel, and then kind of just like the character just kind of phased out for a little bit, and he never really got big until New 52 hit, and then he started getting bigger again, which I'm happy about because like one of my favorite comics is it's called The World's Greatest Superheroes, and it's a collection of art and stories by different writers, but the artist for all of it is Alex Ross. And one of the stories is a Shazam story where he's Shazam and he's like at a children's hospital visiting kids and like trying to inspire them. And it was like ever since I read that, I was like Shazam is like one of my favorite characters. So it's like when I heard that a Shazam movie was coming out, I was like perfect because I was like, that is something like, and this was right around the time when stuff was falling apart for DC. So I was like Shazam will be perfect because it will be able to reel in like, having kid characters in it, and it will also have Shazam, who's on level with like Superman, so we'll be able to get that kind of action and strength, but we're going to be able to get the comedy of a character who is physically an adult but the mind of a child. I was like, that is going to be perfect for what the DC needs.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the biggest like problems that it's not really a problem, like it's just like like I wish it was different. Was the fact that I wish this movie was released on a later time, like summer, because this movie came out in April in the Philippines, so like it was like here for like 2 weeks, and I'll tell you why. And it didn't get any money really, because like no one really knew who Shazam was in the Philippines here. I mean, I watched it because I knew, but like not many people knew, right? So it didn't get money, and as it was about to like as people were starting to notice it and it's starting to gain traction, April 25 came, and that's when Avengers Endgame came, and just like steam. That's where it like just steamrolled the entire cinema, and like it took everything out. So Endgame came, and that was it. So no more Shazam, which sucks because I really liked it, and no, not as much as Endgame, but that's just me.
Another moment that I really liked was the final ending scene with the cafeteria. When we get that shot of Superman, and then Freddy looks up and he's like, he's like all excited and happy, and then that was such a great scene. It was like literally the whole family comes there, and then Shazam comes out, and they're all like, oh my god, and it was all just great.
The only thing that ruined that scene was the fact that they couldn't get Cavill on set to do it. That was the only thing that single-handedly ruins that. Because it's like if they'd been able to show Cavill, it would have made like almost a night and day difference in that scene. Because I still love it. It's awesome. But it was just like, God damn it, the fact that they cut it off the neck. And I'm like, ugh.
Did they
Because it's
try
like,
to get? Did they try to get him?
I think he was filming The Witcher when they were
Oh.
filming this.
Oh.
So I knew he wasn't available. But it was just like, God damn it. It was just like, if they'd just been able to show Cavill, because this was also, don't forget, this was around the time when the rumors were flying around if Cavill was even staying in the role. So it almost would have been a much better, like, it would have been a good reminder to everyone, like, yes, Cavill is staying Superman, everyone. Don't worry. Because right after Justice League, that's when everyone was like, is he even going to stay around? Is he quitting? So it's like, that would have been a good, like, reassurance to everyone. Henry Cavill is staying Superman. Don't worry, everybody.
Cavill, in real life, Cavill is staying Superman, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like almost certain. And I think him showing up on the Man of Steel stream with Zack Snyder the other day kind of proved it a little more than we have. But you got to remember, there's nothing in stone right now.
Yeah.
Neither Cavill nor Warner Brothers has like come out themselves definitively saying, I'm not quitting. Cavill has been open that he wants to stay Superman, but there's no plans for a Man of Steel 2. There's no definitive plans for Man of Steel 2. There's no definitive plans for a sequel that he's definitely going to be in. So it's kind of just up in the air. Is he actually going to be? So like that, if he'd been able to show up in Shazam and we'd seen him, then it would have been a good reassurance to all of us. Yes, he is staying. It's like, it's in stone. Don't worry, everybody. He's here to stay. They just don't have a project for him right now.
Yeah.
But overall, like, to me, to wrap this up, Shazam is like honestly, it's like my favorite of the entire DCEU because it is just it's got everything I like. I think the action is great. I think Savannah's a pretty good villain. Shazam is awesome. The comedy is on point. It's heartwarming. I love everything about it. And coming from David Sandberg, who made Annabelle Creation, which is like my favorite of the entire Conjuring universe. It was like it had those perfect amounts of like those little horror elements speckled in there also. Like we said, the executive boardroom scene, the scene where the scientist tried to open the door and she just like disintegrated into pieces right in front of us as she's screaming. I'm like, this is great. So to me, Shazam is my favorite. It really is.
My wrap up with Shazam is that I really loved it. It was a different feeling than the other ones that we've done, and I really liked it. And like I said, I watched it and I just felt good. And it was like I said, I love that it was about family and wasn't about like other stuff. And it was like a quirky family, and that it's like not a traditional family. It's a foster family. Oh yeah, and I love the foster parents. Both of them are great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it was definitely one of my top favorites. I would say it's probably like I'd probably put it like my third favorite. Yeah. Santino?
For me to wrap it up, I will not sleep tonight if I don't mention this. My favorite funny scene is the scene where Savannah's monologuing and Shazam can't hear him. You know that?
Because that's exactly how it would be. They're like a mile away from each
how
other.
it would go down. Like Savannah's like, I'm gonna destroy you, and everybody, and he's like, what? I can't hear you.
Oh, no.
But to wrap it up, I would say that I love Shazam. It's my second favorite DC movie. First being Man of Steel, and third being the BVS. So that's just like I just really like it. It has heart. It is very much a family movie. Anyone can watch it. Anyone can enjoy it. And it's a shame that in the Philippines here it wasn't as revered as like Captain Marvel or Endgame was.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and just real quick before we switch to the next movie, I did like that end credit scene when Mr. Mind showed up to Savannah when he was in the asylum. I'm genuinely looking forward to where they're going with the next Shazam movie, because it's like, I don't know anything about Mr. Mind, but it's like a talking caterpillar who's going to break Savannah out of an asylum. I'm there. It's weird and it just looks cool. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what's next, Santino? What is our next one?
We are going to. This is gonna be a split movie because Chad, you and I like this movie. Erica thinks it's just okay, which is fine. Birds of Prey. Birds of Prey is the second movie we're talking about today. And Erica, let's hear your thoughts first. You just recently watched it. What do you think of it?
I literally watched it today. I was going into it like really excited, but honestly I was a little disappointed. There were definitely parts of it that I liked. One issue is that I found was there didn't seem to be much character depth in that, like, we didn't go deep and personal into any of the characters, which I didn't like that much. And there was there's no plot twist. It was just kind of like is predictable. There was no like in all of the other DC movies, there was something that there was a plot twist of like, oh, that person's this, that person's that. But I didn't get any of that.
Except for Justice League. Justice League didn't have one either.
True. But it seemed like over dramatic in a lot of ways, and I didn't like the costumes. It was just I thought it would be like I love that it was an all girl cast. It was a female director, female producers, writers. It was really, I love that. That's great. We need more female directors, 100%. But it just, every situation just seemed overdone. Like that jail breakout of Cassandra Cain. It was just like like sprinklers can't flood a room like that. It was just, it seemed like too much, and I didn't like this diamond thing. It was off for me.
It's better than what do you know what the original rumor for what the diamond was supposed to be was?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Okay, the original rumors that were coming out before the movie came out was that Cassandra Cain swallowed the diamond, and instead of can't believe this rumor was. I still wonder if this was actual truth and backlash made them change it. The original rumor that came out about the diamond was that it didn't have like the codes on it to get into the bank vault or whatever. It had dick pics in it. And Black Mask wanted it back.
Oh yeah, I had canon that Black Mask is either bi or gay. Ewan McGregor was awesome.
I was gonna say, what did you think of him though?
I think he was that, oh my god, that beginning scene where they peeled off his face. I was like, what's happening? And then I had to go back because I was like, I don't know what that was. And I went back, I was like, holy shit, they cut off his face. He was disturbing. He was like creepy. He was evil. He was almost, I don't know, he felt like a mix of so many. He felt like a mix of so many different villains. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was his character like that in the comics? Was it true to that, or was it different?
I played Arkham Origins, the Batman game, and he's in it. Yeah, that's pretty true to what he's doing. This is gonna sound controversial. Black Mask is my favorite villain in the entire DCEU. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's like there's no like Joker as Jared Leto, not really, or not Zod. I like Black Mask because he's just mean, and he likes being mean. He's just evil.
How did it, like? Okay, I was listening to a reviewer when the movie, like after the movie came out, and I'd already watched it. He used the perfect words to describe Ewan McGregor as Sionis, deliciously evil, and I'm like, that is a good way to put it. Because it's like he's just like that perfect scumbag that just everyone hates him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you feel no sympathy for him. You're just like, this guy is an asshole.
Yeah.
Like when he's walking into like the room, like where the hands are like tied up, and then like where those people are tied up, and he's like, spectacular news. Like he's like he has flair. That's the word. Spectacular news, like, and like he's gonna, and like when he's like, my favorite moment is like when he's about to cut the little girl's face off. It's like, you know what, I'm gonna spare you, and he looks down like, is that a snot bubble? Oh, I changed my mind, kill her. I was like, oh my god. I was like, whoa, dude.
What is
Yeah.
the name of that his like creepy assistant guy who cuts off the
Oh,
faces?
yeah, Victor
His
Zaz.
name
That's
again.
Victor Zaz. That's
Right.
he's a Batman villain, and he every time he kills, he cuts, like just as a mark. Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
the movie's crazy, and like I think my favorite scene of McGregor's when he made that girl dance on the table,
That was rough.
and it was like.
That was disturbing.
He's doing his movements like, oh my god, like, oh dude, you are unnerving.
He was cracking hard at that point.
Yeah. But it was, I mean, like I said, it had its good moments and there were good parts of it, but it wasn't what I was expecting. And I think, one of the reasons why, like, I after I watched it, I went online and looked at all these different reviews, and it was like people who like were just general movie reviewers really liked it, but the more deep in movie reviewers kind of shared similar opinions than I had. And like it was I just it trying to like that whole part where Harley Quinn is breaking into the police station and she's using all these like colored bombs and sparkle things. It honestly felt like a joke. And I think Harley Quinn is.
But that's
badass.
what she is. She and the Joker use colorful stuff like that in their violent attacks.
Yeah, even in the video games and like other comic books, like her primary weapon is this party gun that when you shoot it, it kills the guy, it explodes it, but there's like confetti also. So that's pretty. I mean, like we all have our own opinion.
It's opinion. I'm just saying, like, I get where you're coming from, but that was a translation from the comics, like, or even a better example of like these flashy weapons, like in Santino, you've seen it, Return of the Joker, Batman Beyond. Remember when they were telling what happened to Tim? And how Joker died with the gun, bang, it came out, and then the bang arrow shot and impaled the Joker. It's like the Joker and Harley Quinn do use gag weapons. So it's like that was just so it's like if it didn't work, not an issue. I'm just saying that is something that is a carryover from, the comics and the cartoons.
Yeah. I get that.
I think it just added a little more pizzazz to the battle, where it added, like some more color as opposed to her just like, pulling out a machine gun and just shooting up the entire place. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah. Like I said, it totally, see, it's conflicting because I feel bad for not liking it. I just, when I was watching it, I found myself feeling bored. And it was, like I said, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. Like, honestly, I'm being real here. I would say it's probably tied for last place with Justice League.
Okay.
Sorry.
Now, do you think this is a movie where 6 months down the road, maybe another viewing would possibly change your mind, or you think it's just locked in places, you just flat out don't like it?
Well, like, when I'm talking about it compared to the other movies that we have watched this month, it doesn't live up to it. And I just really was hoping that there would, like, I knew there would be those crazy Harley Quinn moments, but I was hoping there would be a couple more in-depth moments. Like I said, the main thing that I didn't like is it was really, really lacking in character depth. And like the only people that we really got character depth from was like a Black Canary and the Huntress.
Let's settle the bet. Let's settle the bet that we made. Who was better, Black Canary or Huntress? You
Honestly,
have to do it.
I want to say Black Canary. No, Huntress. Sorry. I want to say Huntress because she watched her family get slaughtered, and then she went and like became this badass, kick-ass, like girl. And then she like murdered the people that killed her family, and I think that's awesome. Like she took that anger and upset, and she became this badass person. And Black Canary was great, and I like that we had at least one superpower. That was nice. There was no other superpowers in it. That's one thing, is like I said, it didn't feel like a superhero movie, and I know it's not meant to be, but it wasn't. I don't know.
What I liked about that feeling though was I get what you're saying. I mean, compared to Shazam, where everyone has powers, super strength, flight, shit like that. What I liked about this one was this was like more of a street level comic book movie, where it was like, this was a movie that took place in like, the ghettos and the neighborhoods of a section of Gotham, as opposed to, like Man of Steel, where it's a giant like global apocalypse that's about to happen. So it's like I liked it because it was like the extreme opposite, where it's like if you want the giant world threatening stuff, you watch something like Man of Steel. If you want something that's like, street level, almost kind of like Santino, the Marvel shows that were on Netflix, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, where it's like all this street level stuff that's like small enough that the giant heroes who are like, saving the planet, they may not see it. I did think it was kind of a cool, like, complete contrast to what all like other bigger superhero movies are of, I'm going to take over the world. I get what you're saying, though. I'm just saying I thought it was cool how it was like a smaller story.
Yeah, I mean, and I personally I love how I guess the word is unhinged. Just how crazy it is. Like that Vision scene where like Harley's in the red dress and she's singing, and just Black Mask like shoots up the like whoa, dude, like that's out of nowhere, but I like it. I like that scene also where I knew I was gonna love it when Harley like rolled down and she threw the gas tank to Ace Chemicals and it just blew up, and like there's fireworks and everything. Like that's cool. And as I said, I love Huntress. I think she's like, from the screen time they gave her, she was so good. Like the scene that always makes me laugh is when she's practicing in front of the mirror. Because you don't know who I am, do you? Like you don't know who I am. Like yeah. Cause see, a superhero would do that. Cause like you can't get on first try, like like. And then Hardy says, you're the crossbow killer, and she says, I'm not the crossbow killer. I have a name. Like okay, yeah. See, that's awesome.
What was so great about her was like she was this badass like warrior, but she was so like awkward and quirky, and it just made it more like a real person, but like also, you know what I mean? I really, like I said, I really liked Huntress, and it was great. I mean, like I said, there's parts of it that were great, but the parts that I didn't like kind of ruined the overall part of it. I'm sorry, but some of the sound effects of like the fighting was overdone. If that makes sense. Like every hit, every punch was like overdone with the sound effects, and that just, I think one of the things that I was kind of not liking too much was the fighting parts, like the physical fighting, and that might have been part of it, was the sound effects were overdone with the fighting. You know what I mean by that, right?
Yeah,
I get what you mean. I'm just like, for me, I'm the exact opposite. Like I thought the fight scenes were great to watch. I thought they were awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just personal taste.
Personal taste. And Chad knows this. Can I just say, I like the fact that it's told out of order.
Yeah, being told out of order was cool. It added a little more. It added a little more to the story, as opposed to just making it this. We start here, tell everything in order from point A to point B, movie's done. No, telling stuff out of order sometimes, it made it a little more cool. Like when we saw, oh God, the cop, Montoya, when she took the call, and it was like, hey, why are you calling me? And at first it's like, you're wondering like, who is she talking to? And then we see it's Black Canary, and then later we go back and we fall back, and then we see it leading up to that point. I thought that was actually a really cool way of telling it. I was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, exactly. And if it worked for Deadpool, it works for this one also. And
Yeah, because I've seen people be like, Santino and I have seen people say they're like, oh, telling it out of order ruined it. I'm like, what'd you think of Deadpool? I love Deadpool. I'm like, but they told that out of order. Oh, Deadpool had better violence. I'm like, okay.
exactly. So it was just I I like it for that, and I like the fact that it just basically feels different than other superhero movies. I don't know. I just felt like oh, I came off watching Endgame, and that was like the last superhero movie I watched, and then Joker, and then Birds of Prey. So it just felt different.
No, you forgot Far From Home.
Oh yeah, there you go. See, Far From Home. So like again, Far From Home was like a world-saving thing. When Birds of Prey is like it's street level. It's small, but it works, you know. But again, that's just me. I did like where Harley was at this point in life because she just came from a toxic relationship with the Joker, and I like that she's finding herself. You know, she's finding herself. She's being new. She's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna be my own woman, and I don't need Joker. I don't need this toxic person in my life. And I like the fact that she's like drinking, and then eventually like when she finds purpose, if you feel like she's a mother to Cassandra Cain in a way. You know, like she's
I
gonna
mean,
teach
come
him.
on. The woman went out and bought a hyena, of all things,
Yeah.
as a pet. I mean, I thought that
Can
was
I?
hilarious. Named Bruce after, how did she describe him?
The
That
hunky
really
way.
hot
Yeah.
guy from
It
Gotham
was
or something?
it was that Wayne guy, and I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, there's a Batman thing. But following up on what you said, Santino, one of the things that I kind of liked is that, at first she wasn't this like I don't need Joker. It was a gradual thing. It wasn't just like, oh, I
Yeah.
don't need Joker. It was a thing of like she at first she was like worried to tell people that they broke up because like being the Joker's girl, anyone messes with you, they're dead. And it I like the fact that it wasn't just all of a sudden like I don't need him. He's not. As a girl, you end a relationship like that, and it doesn't just like you don't just like snap your fingers and be like, oh fuck him, I don't need him. She built that with the other girls, and like I said, I like that she kind of took Cassandra Cain under her wing, and you know, I like Cassandra Cain. Um, I I didn't like I went and looked up and the actress Ella J Basco, she's 13. I thought she was like at least 16, but she's 13.
She's
I
Filipino.
know. Like I said, it seemed like she was at least like 15 or 16, but no. I think that was cool. She, yeah, it was. I mean, like I said, there's definitely good parts of it, but it just wasn't what I was hoping for, or I don't know. If I had gone into it with a different mindset, I would feel differently about it. If that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Do you think you overhyped it up in your own mind too much?
You did, Chad. It's your fault because
It's
you
not
were
my
like, you're
fault.
gonna.
I love the movie. That's your problem for
You know,
listening to me.
you kept saying you were like, you're gonna love Birds of Prey more than Wonder Woman, and I was like, oh, this must
I
be really.
never said that.
You did. You
I said
totally
you
said,
might.
Chad.
The fact that you loved Aquaman as much or better than Wonder Woman, that one took me by surprise because I thought for sure Wonder Woman would have been like up at the top pedestal and everything else would have been like 3 or 4 notches down.
No. Wonder Woman is at the top. Wonder
Yeah,
Woman.
but you said
is,
you were debating whether Aquaman was just as good though.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I feel like Wonder Woman is always at the top. And you literally said we can go back into our other videos. You said to Santino, you said, I think she's gonna like Birds of Prey more than Wonder Woman, and I was just like, okay, this must be really good then. But
Okay.
then
Yeah, but don't forget, I also said I thought you were gonna hate another movie, and you said you wound up loving it. So
I know, I'm just
guesses. Get over it. Get the hell over it. We're not always right. But to kind of build on what you were saying
always right,
about
Chad.
Harley Quinn and the breakup with the Joker and how it's not just, like, snap, you just kind of get over it. I mean, it's the exact same for guys, because I know when you said it, you were like, for girls, it's not like that. It's the same for guys. Like when I've gone through breakups in the past, it's like there was one couple of years ago. I mean, it took me it took me a couple months to get over it, because it's like I really cared about the girl, and it really broke me how badly she and I broke up. Like, she just kind of just like almost heartlessly did it, and it was like it broke me for a while. So it's like so I just thought it was cool, like how Harley did it with her, like basically like because I get what you were saying, where she was like, do I say that we're broken up or do I not? Because it still gave her that level of protection. But she just finally hit that point, like within herself, where she's just like, I need to cut my ties with this guy. I need to publicly announce I am done with the Joker. And by driving the truck into Ace Chemicals, blowing it up, and dropping her necklace, was like they said, it was a public announcement. Joker and Harley were done. So it's like, I thought that was kind of cool, because it's like, there are lots of relationships where it's like one person might hold on to a part of it, and then it just takes that one moment for you to just be like, I've done it. I have moved on. I'm done. And it can, I mean, in today's day and age, for normal people, it can be, I don't know, a Facebook post or some kind of public announcement, like, hey, I'm ready to get back in the ring, or, hey, I'm finally over them, but I'm going to stay single for a while, or something. But it's like, everyone has different ways of coping with breakups and the ending of relationships. And I thought it was interesting the way Harley went about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
again, yeah.
Like, it's, I don't know, talking with you guys about it, maybe I was being a little too harsh on it, but it just, I don't know. I just, when I was watching it, I felt bored. I mean,
it's fine, Erica. As I said, we all have our own opinions. It's what makes us unique.
Yeah, so. I'm not ashamed of my opinion at all. It's actually like it's I find it's interesting when we have different opinions. But yeah, I didn't find the comedy too great. Like, there were no moments where I was just like, that's hilarious, Like, there were funny parts that were like kind of goofy, but there was no like, that was really, really funny kind of things,
Well, show me another movie. Show me one other movie that made you crave an egg sandwich.
Yes.
I didn't crave an egg sandwich there.
Really? Oh my God. I remember watching that for the first time in the theater, and I was just like, oh my God, I want one of those right now so badly.
She said that the cheese was like expired, and that just kind of ruined it for me.
But coming from someone who's worked in restaurants, and same as you, it's like, at shitty little hole in the walls that's just a reality sometimes.
I just love food, so when I saw it, I was like, wow. I'm hungry. So like, I want like it. It's funny. It's funny. Like so like the day I watched it, it was a school day, and then it was my best friend Angela and I were like, like we don't have to really do anything for this subject right now. I mean, like, it's gonna be class, and school just started, so you wanna bail and watch Birds of Prey? I was like, yeah, let's go. So we ended up watching.
Spend the day.
And we didn't have lunch, right? So like, man, we were hungry, and then like there were outside the theater there was a store selling like hot dog sandwiches, and I was hungry until I watched that scene with the egg sandwiches. Like, you know what, I'm gonna get an egg sandwich right now. And I went out and actually bought an egg sandwich, and I went back. I was like, you bought an egg sandwich? And then it's like, yeah, I did. Can you get me one of those also? I was like, okay. This is like, man, egg sandwich. I had a craving for egg sandwiches like immediately after that. It's so good.
So let's wrap this one up, because overall it seems like the three of us are divided, but like you said, Erica, maybe us talking about it did kind of like, so that's why I asked earlier, do you think maybe 6 months down the road you might want to watch this again, or was this just you saw it and like, no thanks, this just wasn't for you?
Like, I think I think a lot of it had to do with the mindset that I had while I was going into it, what I was expecting, and it not being what I was expecting. So, maybe if I watch it again in a while, it'll be better. Honestly, I feel like if I watch this with my best friend, her and I will like it more, if that makes sense. Um,
Like you guys would be able to like laugh and kind of talk over it.
yeah, just because my best friend, she and I have been best friends since we were toddlers. Like we've seen all the big movies together. I won't tell you some of them because they're embarrassing, but um,
Twilight.
no,
I heard the
No.
hesitation in there where it's like, do I say
no,
it?
it wasn't. It wasn't Twilight. I'm never gonna tell. At least not on the podcast. Maybe I'll tell you guys after. But yeah, like I said, if I watch it with someone else, like I said, I think a lot of it had to do with the mindset of what I was expecting going
The
into
build
it.
up, the hype, yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't what I was going in it like I said, I don't hate it, but if I compare it to all the other ones, one of the lower ones.
Fair enough.
Definitely.
That's fair.
The other ones that I watched, I just enjoyed more. So I'll have to figure out which one is at the bottom. But yeah. So that's my closing thoughts on it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, makes sense. That's okay. So to wrap this up, Chad, you also your closing thoughts?
My closing
Just-
thoughts are I personally love this movie. I think it's a blast. I've always loved the character of Harley Quinn. So her getting her own movie to me was like, I was immediately sold. Like this movie could have been anything. This movie could have been like 2 hours of her just sitting there talking to herself and I would have been entertained. I love the character. I always have ever since I was a kid and I saw her on Batman the Animated Series. And the character has always been really cool to me. And seeing her in Suicide Squad, I was like, yes, it's different than what I'm used to for this character, but I love the direction they were going with her. So as soon as they announced Birds of Prey and Harley Quinn was the main character, I knew right away I was sold on it. And for the most part, I think a lot of it holds up. Like I said, I think it's cool that it's a nice street level story. Black Mask was awesome. And I remember before the movie came out, they did announce that Black Mask was gay, bi, one of the two. And I remember for a while, it kind of was the question, like, is he just going to be gay as a joke? Or are they going to actually take it serious? And I think they did a great job taking it completely serious. Like, the relationship he and Zaz had, I thought was perfect. Like, Zaz was clearly madly in love with Roman Sionis and was willing to do anything for him. And Roman Sionis just kind of like treated him, like, oh, my little pet. And it was awesome. And it was like Ewan McGregor played the perfect asshole in this movie. He was the standout. I loved every scene he was in. He hammed it up. He was over the top. He was a complete asshole, and he was just perfect. So it's like, for me, it's just like there, and it was like, the side characters. I will agree that there could have been some more building on quite a few of them. But I mean, this really was Harley's movie. So it's like, I do feel that most of the attention did need to go to her. And I do think Huntress and Canary needed a little more development. How sad is it that Kane and Renee Montoya got more development than the other two? But it is what it is. But overall, I love this movie and I think it's a blast. And I had a great time rewatching it last week. And it's definitely one of the, I mean, I love all the DC movies aside from Justice League. So it's like, I mean, I don't even really know where I place it because it almost comes down to like which one I watched last almost is where I move my rankings around. But yeah, Birds of Prey, I loved it. And I wish it made more money, but it is what it is.
Yeah, true. In my opinion, like to wrap it up, I love it. I love Birds of Prey. I love that it's wild. Black Mask is my favorite villain in the entire DCU. That's just me. He's my favorite villain. I like the action, well choreographed. Huntress, for what she gave, I said Mary Winstead is like one of my crushes, right up there with like Emma Watson and Scarlett Johansson, maybe. I don't know.
We should keep track of all your crushes, and at the end of each month, we should write down which of the actors you have a crush on.
It was like so good. I personally, I love her costume. I love the costume she was with, but like that's just me. That's just my opinion. But I just love it, and I'm I'm just glad that we got. I'm just happy that we got Huntress in a live action film. And she's like the perfect one. Like when I saw her in the comic books and the Justice League animated series, I fell in love with her there. And then
See, to dispute real quick, I did think she was better in the Arrowverse, but she did also have multiple episodes building her up, and I did like her costume better.
Nah, I personally like Mary Winstead. Like that's perfect casting in my opinion as Huntress. Like I love her already, but that's just me. So, yeah, to wrap it up, I love this movie, and I hope that they continue with Harley's story wherever it goes. It's a shame that I don't want this to be the end. Like Birds of Prey. This is where Harley is, and that's it. No, I want it to continue. So.
Well, don't forget, she is going to be in The Suicide Squad. She's listed in the cast, so Harley's not gone. This isn't the end of her.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, there you go. So thank you guys for watching.
Yeah.
Listening to us again. And next week we'll be wrapping up the DC universe with one final movie. I think everyone loves this one, Joker.
Yeah.
I have to get.
Yeah.
I want to say we're gonna have a little Joker laugh competition, and we'll see who has the best Joker laugh. We're doing this. I'm sorry, but
glad you told me now, so I can pregame and have a few drinks before we get started. Thank you for the heads up.
I feel like I could. Yeah, Joker. I watched it today. It was really good. We'll get into that next week. But thank you all for listening. Yeah, I hope you all have a great day, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Yes, we will see you next week. Bye, guys.
Adios.